Hello and welcome back from Brume Tower. Let's continue, shall we? We were just, as hearing, just cleaned slightly a bit of the road ahead, but otherwise we can go. There was just a minor item in that alcove, but we don't really need it. Again, when it comes to collecting items, we're mostly good to go. When it comes to trinket, both to our equipment, is just, getting more stuff that's more useful, like human effigies. So those are always appreciated. But otherwise, when it comes to new equipment, we're mostly good to go. Just like our stats. So yeah, if you forgot, the Brume Tower is a vertical dungeon, so down and down we go. Ow. There we go. And if I recall correctly, here, there you go, there's a bonfire. But I think, there you go. Alright then. If I recall correctly, yeah, there's a door here. But it's locked from this side. Oops. So let me check onto the other side. Stay calm and then do it. Okay. Whatever the hell that means. Liar ahead. Alright, fog gate. Let's see what's behind this one. Ooh, we're back in the central area. This place again. Okay, if I recall correctly, one of the main gimmicks is to activate, a bunch of elevators, which allows, shortcuts towards the top of the tower, which is always appreciated. If I recall correctly, if I go down here, yeah, there's a brute in front of the door. Let me see if I can. Let's see. Standing here, no, doesn't happen anything. Same goes on this one. I could try jumping. It's a bit risky though. Slightly risky maneuver. Vives, what do you think?
Don't risk it.
Shiroi?
Yeah, go ahead.
Alright. We haven't bring back the coin in a long while. Dweebs, again, let's do a a more impartial way. Please, fetch the Google coin.
That's because for a while, you told us our choices didn't matter.
In a couple of
All
things,
right.
but in others, the coin toss seemed to be weirdly, decidedly on your favor, Shiroi, and I don't know why.
I'll toss it now. Heads me, tails Shiroi.
Alright, go ahead.
And it's heads.
Alright, let's get down
The
this.
coin feels differently after its break.
I mean, gotta be rusty and everything. Let's get down. There we go. Here. Alright, I haven't talked much about these enemies. They basically have. They are, barrel-like enemies which can explode. So it's best for you to avoid them. And if I still stood onto that, piece of a board, I could just, fall down. Although, to be fair, I think Dwibs made the right call. I could have just, I miscalculated, and this is the same place we were supposed to go anyway. So, thankfully, we seem to have avoided jumping damage. Does not open from this side. Okay, then. Let's see. No, I'm not supposed to go through the trapdoor. Oh, if I recall correctly. No, okay. There's an enemy type that we haven't seen yet, as in a possessed suit of armor, which are much stronger than the regular mooks, but we haven't encountered it yet, so we need to stay on guard. Again, watch out for the barrel enemies because, again, since they have a tendency of exploding, it's best if you just... there you go, put them down here. Try ranged battle. Yeah, if I recall correctly, if I actually have fire bombs, or a bow and arrow with fire arrows, I could be able to snipe these enemies. Let me see our equipment with all the shit that we have. For instance... yeah, this should do nicely. And in terms of arrow, do we have arrows? Yes, 35 arrows. There you go. Alright, now it's time a good point to snipe. Nope. There you go. It's one down. Fuck. Stuck on the... Get back here. This is not a, this is clearly not an FPS and it shows. There you go. 2. And 3. There you go. And yeah, they've been useful to kill a bunch of enemies at the same time. There you go. Now I just need to fall down the hole myself. Oh fuck. Yeah, this big guy is a bit of a problem. But there's also another one of these things, so let's use another smelter wedge to stake the demon. Again, don't worry, my invincibility frames are completely okay with doing that. And I get another piece of soul medallia. Ow, ow. Fuck! Well, I guess I had to expect this, alas. I don't think the big guy does even have a head. Weird. Alright, there's been a bit, not too much since our last part, so Dwaves, has been anything new?
Well, my order of gunbusters came today.
Right, I think you talked about a few parts ago that you were supposed to expect that.
Yeah, it came in the post today. It's basically one of Hideaki Anno's earlier made directing works.
Another would be Fushigi no Mi no Nadia, or I think it's called Nadia
and the Secret of Blue Water.
My country has a similar title, which is called Nadia and the Mystery of the Blue Stone, which, you know, it's not really as much as, you know, the English title is better technically. Go on.
Yeah, the release of Gunbuster is unique in that it's the first time that the show's ever gotten an English dub. The dub of it came out around about this year. The show came out in the late 80s.
Again, better late than never.
So it took a while.
Like, who is this another thing that Discotech, you know, handled the distribution?
Yeah, well, not round here, obviously, but
they spearheaded the initiative, I guess.
Yeah, there was actually the actual dub was produced by Sound Cadence, who were doing the upcoming redubs of the Digimon movies.
So is it just a case of you know, you exporting the English dub in America, or are you guys getting a British dub?
No, we're just I think that example of Urasa Yatsura getting a British gag dub, that was like a one-time thing. We rarely ever get anime around here dubbed in British English.
I didn't even knew that, admittedly.
Like the last one I remember off the top of my head, the most recent one being the Professor Layton movie.
Well, to be fair, again, that having a, you know, originally a British cast on its own makes sense. That you know.
Yeah, even if Emmy had extensive vocal surgery before the film,
alas,
did it afterwards.
Again, I'm technically more okay the fact that, you know, these days there seems to be a bit more consistency, you know. Oh, actually, that's how it's supposed to do. With more consistency when it comes to dubs, and sometimes, you know, countries do get them in the first place, rather than, you know, even just a bit less than 10 years ago, the situation was much more dire, admittedly, you know. So at the very least, there is something. Go on.
Also, another order of mine, the first collection of Dragon Ball Z on Blu-ray came.
You did mention this one that you were getting. Remind me again, how many episodes are you getting with this?
There's like... The box is right across from me, actually. Go check.
Don't get cross with the box, Dweebs.
This one has 39 episodes.
Okay. So I think it covers the Seiya. That definitely covers the Seiyan saga.
Yeah, because basically I want to get a lot of Dragon Ball media before me and Pedro get to them as part of our watching of them, and we aren't doing Kai because
Yeah, I think you mentioned that last part. What I'm curious about, since what you didn't mention, is I'm curious on something because, again, not being British myself, I don't know how the distributing program was done at the time. You didn't happen to catch it on television while growing up, Dweebs?
if I did, it was like for a few seconds maybe. I can't remember that much.
Okay, fair enough.
Although funnily enough, we had a completely different dub to everyone else. I mean, I think our airings of it when it was aired on TV initially around here came from Canada.
Mm-hmm. Hey.
But obviously when the physical home media releases came about, we just defaulted to the Funimation dub.
Fair enough.
Which we tend to always do.
I think the Canadian dub was the big green dub, was it?
I don't know, honestly. That's my thing with Dragon Ball. There's the history of the English dub is so convoluted.
It's a lore in itself.
Yeah. You can make a show based on that.
Pretty sure there's at least a video essay of 2 hours that talks about it.
Yeah, and well, getting to Z for me is pretty scary because there's like well over 200 odd episodes.
Again, Dweebs, you know, you're technically tracking also through One Piece, so you shouldn't really be scared of that.
291. So, well, yeah, One Piece. You know, that's basically the Coronation Street of pirate anime.
Didn't people compare it more to Doctor Who?
Now, Doctor Who isn't on every single week.
Fair enough. And besides, Doctor Who episodes tends to be... Well, I don't know if it's applicable to all of your major shows, Luis, but Doctor Who tend to be sorta-esque, like mini films. Okay, short films of 40 minutes. So...
Well, it's been like that since the revival, although there was that one series of the classic era in '85 where they were instead of the usual like near 30-minute episodes, they were like 45-minute ones.
And then there are the specials like the Christmas stuff, which are, you know, more than 1 hour.
Roughly now, yeah. Although the most recent one, The Power of the Doctor, that was a bit of a marathon, actually, by Doctor Who standards. It was because it was a centenary special, so I guess they wanted to
make things bigger, yeah.
Yeah, it was 87 minutes. Plus, it had a lot of stuff to do. It had to do the centenary stuff for the BBC. It had to wrap up both the 13th Doctor's tenure and Chris Chibnall's tenure as showrunner.
And if I recall correctly,
lead into a regeneration.
If I recall correctly, the entire reason was that because the series had took a sabbatical, the year before. So in order to recoup that, they did two projects that special that you just mentioned, and the video game, which I haven't seen it yet for myself.
I don't really know much about a video game.
I forgot exactly what the title is, but I can tell you that it's a thing. They did a video game starring 13 and I think also 10, is it? Tenant? But,
sounds like something
wait. Okay, I might have just had a revelation, but it's very stupid. Did Tennant got casted just because he's supposed to be as the 10th Doctor because his name would have been a pun?
I don't know. I mean, I hope they didn't do it just for that. By that logic, David should have also been called David Fortinant.
Hey, some people will make any excuse for a pun.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
the scary font.
Yeah, I know. I talk. Yeah, I know. I talk to one of those people every day.
Who'd that?
And I wonder who could that be.
It's a mystery.
Sometimes you just don't know. Alright. Apologies if I'm stuck in this particular room. Essentially, I need to clean things up, and as you noticed from my previous deaths, the big guy with the mace doesn't really allow me to actually pull the lever, before, because unlike with the sticking animation, that one doesn't have any visibility frames. Go on, Dibs.
Well, there is one. Speaking of Doctor Who, we know now that we're going to get those free 2023 specials, and they've got an exact date, the 25th through to the 9th, an episode every Saturday. And then a bit after that, there's the Christmas special.
Never miss it. Although, I think at this point we're kind of running out of ideas for Christmas special, because, even the more creative ones, we have done so many Christmas specials that, it feels like what can we do now? We already did, Charles Dickens multiple times, mind you. We've done even something akin to The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe for some reason. So.
Although I will get a bit technical actually. The specials under the Chris Chibnall era, they didn't air at Christmas. They aired on New Year's Day.
I mean, the themes is still the same, or for those festivities. So.
Like the first one was about a more rustic take on a Dalek. The one after that was another Dalek story, but bigger.
Of course.
13. So the series 13, I mean, I didn't really have.
I think was that the one with the futuristic city that has the lightning rod that attracts sharks. I think.
I don't know.
It's one involving Tennant, and I actually really like it.
Well, I mean, there was the other. Yeah, okay. I think Chris Chibnall wanted to break the record for most Dalek stories released on a specific day.
There's also the fact, remember, the thing that you mentioned, that the estate, potentially can retrieve the contract if the Daleks are not present. And if I remember correctly, during the entirety of 13 run, there hasn't been a single Dalek focus episode, so essentially they crammed everything together in those.
Yeah, in the actual series, series themselves, the Daleks don't show up. It's just during the New Year's. It's just the specials where they showed up during the Chibnall era.
All right, finally we managed to open the door. Let's see if this one actually triggers. No, okay. Ambush ahead. Hooray for comfort. Oh, there it is. It's a bit intimidating, but don't worry, they can be dealt with, fair enough. They just have a bit more health and, more varied moveset, but otherwise, there we go. It's when you start getting ganked by a bunch of these that large Titanite shard, do an effigy, always appreciated, twinkling Titanite, and dried root. Again, this being in the industrial focused area means that we get also a lot of evolution, material like about Titanites. Why are there so many bloodstains about people falling off this ledge? Am I missing something? Like, is that an inside joke that I don't know about the Souls community? Try sniper spot, but be wary of enemy horde. Yeah, there is an enemy technically ahead. Let's see, Dweebs. Do you wish me to try my test with the bow and arrow? The gist is that I can easily hit that enemy, but the message seems to be hinting at, enemy horde. But remember, it's a player hint, it's a player message, so there's a good chance that it might be just, trolling. What do you think?
I wouldn't take the risk.
Shiri?
Go for it, you're far enough away.
Dweebs, please roll the coin again.
Okay, coin toss ready. Heads it's me, tails is Shiroi. It's tails.
Alright, let's go.
Shirai's gonna get us killed again.
So, always with the optimism, Dweebs. Whoa.
What he has?
Have I steered you wrong before? I can't even say that
Yes.
The
without smiling.
straight face, Jesus Christ.
Do you need me to answer that?
See, you're far enough away. You're fine.
It's more like these balls of lightning that are a bit of an annoyance, but at least they're not like in Blake Stone. Whoa. I hope
Good
these...
thing there's no ice physics.
No, well, because, you know, it's ash, not ice.
Oh yeah, I keep...
We're gonna get to the ice dungeon in the next DLC section here, don't worry.
Ooh.
I don't think there's ice physics in that, but, you know... I don't remember 100% clearly, so... Ah.
Oh, well.
Essentially, the DLCs were created with the idea of what is the main game lacking in terms of dungeon theming. Like, for example, this one, which is Ash, because the old Iron King's dungeon already had fire, you know, so this is different. Go on, Dribs.
Also, the Blu-ray, I'm pretty sure like the DVDs as well. Also gives you the option to switch music tracks for the English dub.
That's always appreciated. That's also the interesting thing because, you know, for a lot of anime, you know, the soundtracks are a nightmare in terms of copyright. So seeing people actually managing to, you know, getting those a bit, you know, untangled, you know, for distribution release, that's always appreciated. Again,
so if you much prefer Dragon Ball Z with Bruce Faulkner music or Kikuchi music, there you go. There's your
Gucci music.
Although one thing I've noticed, even if you have the Kikuchi audio one for the English dub, it still has the English dub opening theme.
I guess that one could not get properly done, alas.
Maybe,
Again, music copyrights has always been very fickle as a matter. I don't understand why that in particular. Maybe because it was kind of a sort of a pioneer for the media industry, I guess. Still very dumb. Fire ahead. Alright, well, we have a bit of a free section here. There's an open space, which probably tells me we're gonna get ambushed by a bunch more people. Cannot guarantee there is a treasure. There's a stairs down below. I don't remember where the door is. And there's a fog gate with a message that says there is a bonfire, you know, behind it. Where do you think should we go? A, B, or C?
B.
The stairs, then. Shiroi?
The one that involves the least amount of stairs.
Okay, I guess that means the bonfire, which I do agree. So it's two against one vote. There are actually blood stains, so... Okay, there's still stairs. I don't remember this place. It's like that bit with Gandalf. I have no memory of this place. Right, there is actually the bonfire. There it is. If I recall correctly,
in a big circle area.
No, this is not a boss place. But if I recall correctly, I'm supposed to actually, the scorching iron scepter, and not even very supposedly buried in this place that I will have to find, and that one should be able to actually, you know, activate the contraptions of the tower, meaning the elevators that allow me to go up and down, you know, as I please. And if I recall correctly, that's also the key to get to the bottom of the tower, because that's again where we need to go, down and down. Let's see, we have here a spell quartz ring. If I recall correctly, that should be it. There's also another door, let's see if it opens, otherwise we have to go through one other way. No, it's locked. Okay. It reminds me of one of the death quotes that's kind of like the ones in King's Quest. The death quote from the game Pathways into Darkness, where an enemy can cast, you know, a spell that basically does an earthquake maneuver which ultimately, you know, buries you because you're basically in a giant dungeon. And the death message is, you died in an earthquake. I hate it when that happens.
I know, it's really common.
Just another average day. Or to be fair, some countries are sadly more susceptible to earthquake than others, unfortunately. So, oh, look at that! We're back. Okay, it's not the same section, but there is another chain that leads to another section of another tower. Liar ahead, liar ahead. 2 liars. Well, 2 negatives do not make 1 positive for this one. If I recall correctly, this is a section where we're gonna get a bit of trolling potentially. Because I have to warn you already. Let's just say, yeah, Maldron the Assassin, another invader. If I recall correctly, this guy or girl, I forgot actually. Well, them. Let's just call them. There it is. There we are. The devs went incredibly creative when it comes to the invasion for the DLCs. You know, they get people who will trick you into going to other places. You know, bypass your shield immunity or something. Ow. Or have this equipment that's essentially meant to just troll the fuck out of you. For example, there you go. Maldron is just sprinting down. We don't really need to follow them because this area fucking sucks for the time being. So let's instead take time to get inside this treasure chest. Don't worry, it's not a mimic. That's why I didn't ask you. And we get bonfire statics, but we don't need. So if I recall correctly, beware of left, therefore try beating to a pulp.
Charming.
Alright. If I remember correctly, the gimmick with this is also that the ashen warriors tend to actually regenerate too. Essentially, it's best if we actually don't get here for the time being. There you go. And instead, return. Unless that's the only way down, I forgot. Again, it's been a long while since I traveled through these corridors. Rollstone. Let's see. Okay, let's try to beat this enemy up first. There you go. Here. Whoa. Well, that's definitely here. Using the ash as a hiding spot is actually a cute idea. It kind of reminds me of old school FPSs, where they could actually, their expansions or DLC will try to get creative, you know, in having new enemies or enemy placement, you know. It's interesting to see that even a flawed game like this actually tries to get a bit creative with what they have. I guess I can give testament to that. Even at its worst for this new era, From Software still was able to actually, you know, have some kind of level of quality. Sort of a great hero. There you go. And that's mostly because the games done after this essentially kept a consistent level thanks to, you know, Miyazaki and the others of the team. You know, Sekiro, Dark Souls 3, Elden Ring, and even more recently Armored Core 6, you know, which was a welcome return to form from the fans. No. Alright, let's see. Whoa. I forgot about these casters. This ball of lightning thing is a nightmare to work with, and I hope it doesn't fuck up the streams. Alright, I think if I... no. I need to be careful with this.
At least its visual effect isn't obnoxious to look at, I guess.
Again, that's an interesting thing. Aside from the more classic stuff, like the lightning storm that we had with the Looking Glass Knight, a lot of aligning effects in these games are not particularly obnoxious. Like, there's one that I haven't showed you really, because we're not really... It's a spell reserved for clerics, which we are obviously not, thank goodness. That is about, you know, using a bolt of lightning, like, you know, classic Zeus bolt of lightning, that you might remember seeing in the opening of the first game that Gwyn used. That's a signature spell sorts, but that one really, sure it's color yellow and you know it's crackling with lightning, but doesn't really provide that much in terms of you know obnoxiousness. So it shows that some you know developers can actually provide that without being too much obnoxious. Again, even in general, despite the fact that sadly you know it still happens in a lot of occasions. You know, cannot use bonfire. Oh, maybe because there's the invasion. Let me see if I can repel the invader. Let's see. Banish phantoms and return to your world. No, nothing do that. Stores link to other worlds. Let's see. Give me just a second. Cannot use it this time. No, if I recall correctly, no, I'm supposed to... Actually, no, let me see if I can... No, I cannot even use the feather. I'm actually supposed to go after the invader? Piece of shit. Actually, no, let me go through this, why not? Magic stone. Again, even if it's fading compared to how it was, you know, in the old era, there are still a lot of developers who still, you know, associate lightning with flashes of white, and even, you know, other effects. So I do wonder, well, I'm guessing there's not much... Oh, there you go, return to their world. I'm guessing there's not too much in terms of raising awareness for this particular thing, Shiroi. When it comes to, you know, asking for accessibility, you know, asking with developers and everything, I'm guessing, you know, the whole translating effects that will have flashes will have into something else to avoid potential epilepsy warning and people with photosensitivity, you know.
Yeah, that's usually pretty common for that to be featured.
No, oh, okay, because again, I don't know much on the matter, so I don't know actually how much, you know, awareness is there, how many people, I mean, devs tend to listen to that, because a similar case is something that we discussed off commentary a while ago, the game Everhood, a game with a very interesting story that unfortunately, as you know, as one of its main gimmicks is to be psychedelic with its theme. They do technically have an option apparently, because I haven't played the game for myself.
It doesn't do much.
Yeah, and as you can...
From my own experience.
As you told me, it doesn't seem to do much, unfortunately, which again, that makes me wonder, you know.
Lately the ratings people around here in the UK, the BBFC, who choose what age rated the product should be, lately they've been adding flashing light warnings as part of their contains this and that thing next to the age rating as well. I'm guessing that was like the most logical place to put it. Plus, you know, it's kind of important to put stuff there, especially since this was from the late 80s, where anime had a particular issue with flashing images.
Even in the, well, not just in the 80s, we've argued even more than that. Again, I made an example. Icarus reviewed a couple of episodes of a series called The King of Braves, Gal Geiger, standard mecha stuff, but apparently every single scene that involves, you know, the layer of the villain of the series, you know, is basically a magenta set of, you know, intermittent flashing lights, you know, to represent monitors, you know, and computers and stuff, you know. The problem is that, again, and I don't even think it's supposed to a thing that, oh, it was supposed to not look as obnoxious on CRTVs, because if I recall correctly, The Simpsons made a joke about, you know, the problem by having, you know, the entire family collapsing due to seizure by watching an anime. So there is that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Seizure robots.
About Everhood, though, they, because I was looking at their Steam community back when I did try to play the game, They did have a thread on how they went about the flashing light settings.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, they took a not very good approach
Oh.
from what I remember, where they tried to do their own research into it instead of
Asking.
instead of asking accessibility consultants in the industry. So it didn't turn out that great. And it's not even just the flashing lights. Everhood has also some eye strain kind of thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's hard to describe, but, you know, some color saturation and things
Yeah,
like that.
because-
A lot of art gets tagged with, you know, eye strain kind of thing.
I'm more.
So it's not a visually good game for me to play at all.
No. And it's a shame.
Unfortunately.
It's a shame because the story is still really great. So I encourage, I can encourage you to series that look for visual free, video synopsis about the story, because I definitely would still like to hear your thoughts about the story of the game. I'll still plan to record the game in some capacity for the others, but definitely.
Yeah, I'll
your
sit
thoughts
that one
will-
out, but I would like to look into the story
Maybe
because
for-
it
maybe you
was
can get-
interesting to start.
Maybe you can get in for the final thoughts to tell, your thoughts
Yeah.
result. But I'm curious on another thing instead, also asking Glib, since you're also the more versatile on the matter too. Do streaming services actually do tell in their potential previews about the potential presence of photosensitivity warnings?
Yeah.
Because I distinctly remember, I watched recently again, it's a kind of an habit of mine, the first Fantasia movie, and if you know about anything of that movie, there's a lot of scenes, particularly in The Sorcerer's Apprentice, where Mickey is animating the broom. That one is just basically assaulting you 24 for a bunch of seconds in very rapid succession.
Round here in the UK, after I'm not sure how many
Yeah,
incidents
over
it
here.
was, but after a couple of incidents that involved a lot of flashing lights during a show where some people were really badly affected.
Mm-hmm.
They drew up new rules as to what as to the use of flashing images in shows, and after the Pokemon Porygon
The
incident in
infamous
Japan,
one.
a few people from the companies involved actually flew to the UK to talk to those who instigated those rules around here so they could learn from it.
Mm-hmm. It's also funny, if you remember anything about that episode, is that people took an issue, and apparently that was their reasoning for showing Porygon the least amount of possible. Not completely banning him, Porygon still shows up, sometimes potentially group stuff or very occasionally, but people believe that it was the case. But if you forgot, it was Pikachu's fault
I
that the
was gonna
flashing
say, it
happened.
wasn't even...
Yes,
it
Pikachu's
wasn't even
fault.
Porygon.
It was the
Hell,
little shit.
There's literally a scene in Pokemon Heroes where there's literally a scene in Pokemon Heroes where it showed Porygon having a brief cameo, and from the looks of it, it looked as if he was in jail. I was like, come on, he's in. It wasn't really. It was just behind like a great
Obviously.
fence. But I was like, guys, come on. It wasn't even Porygon's fault when you threw him in jail.
But Pikachu gets cute mascot privileges, so it's fine.
Little shit.
Bastard.
Oh, hello there.
Getting away with murder.
Have I interrupted something? Yeesh.
I remember when me and Alice were watching Squid Game because we watch a lot with audio description for like a multitude of reasons. There was an entire scene, it went on for like 5+ minutes, where a fight breaks out in the dorm rooms and the lights are broken, so it's constantly flashing. And when I mean it went on for that long, me and Alice went to do other things while it was
I mean,
happening.
we got a more recent example, the climax of a couple of movies that we did for Halloween, like what's it called, like Neverending Story 3, or
Child's Play as well, right?
The first Child's Play, at the very least. I forgot if the other two also suffered from it, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the ending
Also-
of Free did.
Also, Shiori, do not watch Alone in the Dark 2005.
Not just that, a lot of Uwe Boll movies have this stupid gimmick about, in order to raise tension, to have, flickering lights. I wouldn't even call it too much flashing, but it is a flickering. You think of it like the simple bulbs of a room just thrilling for a few seconds. It's still, obnoxious in its own way, not as much as stuff like the climax of Event Horizon, for example.
I'm pretty surprised there isn't more awareness of it in terms of, media creation, because it's a very common issue that a lot of people have, whether it's epilepsy, photosensitivity, visual impairments. It's a lot of people, actually.
Hell, even amongst those that aren't privy to many of the above, they could just take me for example. I don't have epilepsy of any kind, and yet whenever I watch some certain scenes with flashing lights, I'm like, guys, calm down, Jesus.
It's basically the same for me. Like, I'm pretty sure me and Dweebs in the group are the ones with the best eyesight in general, because both, aside from Shiri, both Pedro and Jova have glasses on their own, so they need the prescriptions and everything. But oh god, I got invaded by someone else. Fucking hell. Quick sword
that one
Rachel.
scene in The Incredibles 2 was a problem as well.
It's literally a plot point too.
Yeah, it is a problem.
They even had to have warnings, like in the cinema foyer about it.
But hold on, let me just quickly check. Oh, there she is. Rachel, get back to Batman, please. Let me see. Are there people inside? Rachel. But no, admittedly, I have started to become more aware only in recent times, even if it didn't personally, it zigzags, because sometimes it is still obnoxious even to me, but sometimes I just completely ignore it. Like, I'm pretty confident that our original run of Final Fantasy VII had even something like that, and I completely did not notice that, I'll need to rewatch it again just to be sure, but there you go. Fucking Rachel. Why do you even have a prison?
Okay. I wanted to test my theory of the flashing lights, since there's not much going on here. And I turned on the Gunbusters Blu-ray, and literally when the menu starts up, there's all flashing lights everywhere.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of mecha-related animes suffer from this big time. It feels like it was considered kind of like a cliche, in order to symbolize. Because again, it's not something that's done out of malice, at least I hope most of the time. There is usually an artistic reason behind that. People believe wrongly, obviously, that that it enhances, without problems, the scene, or to symbolize. The equivalent of a bolt of lightning. I forgot if the Thunder plane from Final Fantasy X does have that associated with its thunders behind it. Oh, hi. Fuck me. Oops. Surprise behind the door.
Like, literally, as soon as the menu starts, I only have to start the proper show. There's flashing everywhere, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, guys. I'm glad the box gives you. I'm glad the back of the box gives you warning about flashing lights.
I was about instead to say what's gonna be next. As soon as you open the physical box, it's gonna breathe fire on you.
Jesus, that would be okay. That's gonna be the next evolution after this current Blu-ray 4K thing that we've got. Will be media where you can actually feel something when you open the box, depending on what the movie is. If it's the Super Mario Brothers movie, you'll have carts flying out of it. If it's the Sonic movie, you'll have a rush of someone that will just run really fast right by you. If it's Alone in the Dark, actually no, don't do that.
Don't do that, yeah. Oh, good, the 2 items. Twinkling Titanites and the Recollection spell. Oh fuck. You fucking wizard. Fuck! Heard of you too. Alright, at least we are actually moving somewhere. There we go. Kind of reminds me of something, what I just said about the Breathing Fire. I forgot, did both of, because, I was just in one of them when it comes to the commentaries, did either of you manage to read the entirety of the Narnia books, so the Chronicles of Narnia?
I only read Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Don't worry, I'm not, trust me, I'm not judging you in the slightest. What about you, Dweebs? Oh, I guess it's BRB. Because basically, okay, I recommend watching first Dominic Noble's video about the series, because other than his usual style, he did also a recollection of the books that, are not, did not get an adaptation,
I know the ending is pretty wild.
The ending, yes, it's pretty... But even, not just the ending, Shiroi, even in general, the entirety of the 7th book, I agree with what, Dominic mentioned. It feels like Christopher Lewis just sorta gave up, in a sense, and decided, you know what, fuck it, end of the world, ma. But no, I'm sorry, the thing is that the 6th book, yes, The Horse and His Boy, which is sort of an interpol in itself, it's technically as a story, it's more simplistic, when it comes to its writing. It still had its own problem, like, the depiction of a foreign country towards Narnia, which, done by Lewis, is supposed to represent Arabian states, and I just let you imagine.
Yes, fantasy racism.
Yeah, the classic, because even Tolkien wasn't, about that. But the thing is that while the story in his book it's already its own kind of worms, a person that I do follow, which lives in not South America, it's the southern states of America, got to see with his girlfriend a stage play of The Horse and His Boy. And it was kind of batshit insane. There's an entire video of a podcast that talks about it, just of how the insanity factor of it, so I will not recollect the entire thing. But basically the highlight of it, of all of it, is the puppet that they use for Aslan, because yes, of course they need to use not necessarily animatronic, it's a puppet piloted by stage ninjas, and it looks horrifying. It looks like, again, as people described it, it looks like it came out from a Dark Souls game. I can provide maybe a link to do those photos in the description of this part, because it's absolutely a blast to see the insanity going on. And it was even a high budget production, admittedly, so... There you go. How did the classical Lewis inheritors of his estate actually got all of that inspiration and money? It's weird.
No idea.
There you go.
As far as book series go, I haven't started it yet, but I did get the first audiobook edition of the first Discworld.
Ah, good. Again, there is no real first point to start with Terry Pratchett's work, so anyone is fine. Usually Guards is always the more appreciated, because it's very simple to understand and it gives you a basic rundown of the world. Mm-hmm. It's also the one that got adapted into a point-and-click video game. Yeah, anyone is fine. I think there was an adaptation recently that was more of a, kids movie that I haven't heard much about, but I know that it exists, so I'll have to check it out at some point. Curious. So yeah, the gist of it with these enemies is that they don't possess legs, so they crawl around and jump, but if you damage them potentially enough, they might get triggered into a state of exploding, which can come in handy for you, and they are very susceptible to flame. Again, I hope that these flames do not fuck up the stream, because that would be very unfortunate. It has already happened in the past. Alright, since I'm done, let's...
Also, sorry if that noise was a bit loud on the microphone. My phone rang, even though it was on silent.
You probably should consult an exorcist, Shiroi, but...
It is an iPhone, I probably should.
Again, it's still your fault for using Apple technology. I don't know what to tell you.
It's the most accessible of the bunch, okay?
Well,
I can get it on that.
Hey, plus it's the most secure. Anyone can hack into an Android and they can do anything.
Alright. at the end for weakness tight spot. Money bags ahead, therefore pure luck required ahead. Beware of enemy horde, control required ahead. Well, let's see. Let's push these doors! Oh, there it is. That's the rod that I need. But as you can see, there are a bunch of these enemies in here. So let's do what they suggested and do some crowd controls. Always appreciated. There you go. The fact that they explode means that they damage considerably also the other enemies, so it's always... I think I probably should have used a bomb, I still think I have one or two. And there you go, done. And if I remember correctly, this is the item that I need. The Scorching Iron Scepter. There you go, complete with an animation. Let's give a look to our prize. A scorching hot iron scepter, used to activate contraptions by transferring heat to Brume Tower. When the old Iron King wrested this dilapidated region from the Kingdom of Ven, the act required all the resources the enfeebled lord could muster. But with the discovery of his iron-producing miracle, he was reborn as a powerful leader. And no, don't make vibrator jokes, the Princess Peach game already did. Yes.
My dog agrees with that.
Hey, what are your dog's opinions on Princess Peach?
They're silent now, so...
Nice job, Skeleton.
Nothing to say.
No, nothing to say.
And if I recall correctly, again, the level that I just pulled should unlock the... There you go. Oh, hi. Sorry, the ride is... There you go.
In use.
Yeah, I need to... No! Fucking hell.
Not sure if it's thanks to Mario Wonder, but at the last Comic-Con I went to, there was so many more Daisy cosplayers than usual.
Might be a combination of things. Daisy has been pushed more and more, you know, into spotlights. She had been a staple already in Mario Kart, so not too much of a problem there, but, you know, Smash Ultimate definitely also helped. But yeah, probably Super Mario Wonder too. Again, Deji probably will be so proud.
Yeah, he's having a great year as far as Daisy content goes.
Well, even in general, you know, he's also such as he's also a true fan of Judy Han from Street Fighter, which is, you know, for pure superior intellectual beings such as myself, you know. So also thanks to Street Fighter 6, you know, we also managed to eat good on that front too. Alright, let's see what's here. Am I supposed to actually jump down from here? Let me check. I forgot. I think so, actually. Alright, let's do it. Nice job, I guess. Yeah. This is essentially, this was a mini dungeon that serves us to get the contraption that we need in order to power up the mechanism of the Brume Tower. So again, we're at a very good spot. The good news is that this dungeon only has, if I recall correctly, one required boss fights. The other two are technically optional. So depending on how things go, we will decide if we actually go through them or not. But for the time being, let me see. Let's have at least slight more tracking and then we can end. Let's do the proper deed and insert the rod into the mechanism.
And it blows up.
Thankfully, no. It's a perpetually heated up iron, which again activates the entire tower. The miracle of technology. Hooray!
Never let me develop video games. I'll just put in stuff to show you.
Honestly, Dwibs, you would have been so fine for the there you go, for the old age when it comes to, you know, when it comes to video games, because stuff like you know, old point and click like the Sierra games or even from Software's old catalog, like Kingsfield, that probably would have been just fine on your part in terms of being dickish.
Yeah, I think it could. I think I'd make good dickish games for like the PS1 era or something, where you have to be really careful what you press, because if you press the wrong button at the wrong time, your character will I don't know, suddenly die of a heart attack or something.
There usually are there are a lot of games that potentially have that kind of weird, risky situations. For example, a couple of old point-and-click games like Darkseid are on a set time limit, or even that one that we covered, King's Quest 3, you know, have a specific time limit where you have to always be aware of your surrounding, because otherwise you might get killed by, you know, the game's villain. It's part of the charm, but also very annoying. So, you know, it's actually very understandable that, you know, games have moved on from that and only are it's nice that it's still retaining some capacity, you know, thanks to indie games, you know, of any kind. But again, it's understandable that for the bigger audiences we moved on and did something else. Like, for example, the more recent Monkey Island game. Well, to be fair, the Monkey Island games always had been about, you know, more fair treatment when it comes to point-and-click stuff, but the more recent one actually, you know, even has a lot of good accessibility options on its own right, so there is that too. Again, Ron Gilbert has always been advocating for less dickish point-and-click games. They even have, I think the first Monkey Island even has a joke that actually tricks you into having one of those, you know, death with a quote endings from the old King's Quest, only to tell you, no, just kidding, don't worry. It's funny because for a long while, people believe that only Tim Schafer was the main person behind Monkey Island, mostly because he was the one that was doing a lot of spiritual success for later, thanks to his company Double Fine. It's only relatively recently that Ron Gilbert managed to get back to the spotlight. There you go.
I don't know, like, I don't remember if it was ever particularly dickish in parts, but the point-and-click talk is reminding me of the Clock Tower remaster that's coming.
Yeah, Clock
for the
Tower
game that was never officially released here.
Yeah, Clock Tower is an old series and with a very complicated release history. The second game was not released in our okay. The first game was not released at all in Western territories.
It was translated though.
There was
by
a fan translation,
yeah.
yes. But recently, you know, there's the, you know, remaster done by Way Forward, thankfully. But the second game, if I recall correctly, was just called Clock Tower 1. And instead a spin-off called Ghost Head is instead called, you know, Clock Tower 2. Clock Tower 3, of course, you know, being called already like that in Japan, caused people no problem. The problem is that it's not too much of a clock tower. It was handled to movie director, and he got a bit too much into it, in a sense that it's a bit too frenetic, frenzy, and over the top. Like the protagonist at some point turns into an magical anime girl and shoots arrows, kind of like a Sailor Moon X-Spy. Haunting Ground was a much better, you know, successor to Clock Tower, but that one never got a remaster. It was supposed to actually receive an HD treatment in the PS3 era, but that never happened for some reason.
I know we I was just looking it up. We got Clock Tower 2, as it's called in Japan.
Yeah, as Clock Tower 1, like you said.
Yeah, in North America and Europe. The next one only came out in Japan and North America.
Which was Ghost Head in Japan, but in North America it was Clock Tower 1 too.
We got the third one in both America and Europe.
Thanks to Capcom. Ow.
I watched a lot of videos about the series back then.
It has really interesting themes, especially, and even the gameplay is far different from when it comes to survival horrors, you know. So it was kind of pioneering at the time. But sadly, we didn't really got too much in terms of spiritual successors recently. There you go, let's get the item.
There we go.
The tower key. Let's give it a look, and then we can return to the bonfire and close the part. Opens the... Let's get back to here. Key that opens the door to Brume Tower. Long ago, the tower used to produce a seemingly endless supply of iron. The king used it to create iron soldiers and an iron castle. Legend has it, he even tried his hands at forging a dragon out of iron. Who knows? Let's see, let me just test it quickly if it opens one door that I can think of, otherwise we'll just return to the bonfire and close it there. Because if I recall correctly, it's there. I love that the elevators are basically statues like that. Oh, there it is, there's the tower key. Let me just quickly give it a look, see. Safe zone ahead, but pointless. Okay. There's a Twilight Harp. Actually, if I recall correctly, that's the thing that I need to actually properly get done. Let me see. Oh no, I think we're in the wrong place, but conveniently there is a bonfire, so we're just closing it here. Alright, tune in for the next part where we continue the descent into Brume Tower and see what happens. See ya!
See ya.
Yeah.